Africa generally does not get a lot of coverage when it comes to culture, and when it is covered, that representation is typically limited to so-called tribal cultures. I could go on a rant about this subject alone if I wanted to, but that's not the purpose of this video. The limited representation of Africa is responsible for the persistence of one of the most easy to debunk myths when it comes to the continent, right up there with the no swords myth. The myth of a lack of architecture more complex than simple huts. This mini-series aims to fix that problem by looking at some of the architectural styles that can be found in the continent, and we'll be starting this by looking at Sudano Sahelian architecture, quite possibly the most iconic West African architectural style. So, for those who do know something about Sudano Sahelian architecture, you probably are aware that it's built with mud. And before I talk any further about Sudano Sahelian architecture, I probably should answer this question. Why mud? Well, I hate to answer a question with another question, but why not mud? For some reason, mud has gotten a negative reputation as a building material, and is associated with simplistic, so-called primitive designs. This idea ignores that mud is some of the most accessible building material around, and while it is extremely susceptible to rain, mud brick architecture is relatively easy to modify, and among the most interesting benefits, it keeps you cool during the day and warm at night, as a result of some complicated thermal science stuff that has to do with the heat capacity of mud brick. This is, of course, pretty useful when you're living in the Sahel, which can get very hot. And there's a reason why the ancient Egyptians frequently used mud brick for their architecture. Aside from in Africa, mud brick saw use all over the world. It was used by the Indus River Valley peoples, in the Levant, in the Americas, and was the building material for the city of Shibam in Yemen, the site of some of the first skyscrapers in known history. So, as you can see, it's a pretty versatile material that was used in many parts of the world, completely fit for the purpose of building elegant, functional structures. As the name implies, Sudano Sahelian architecture was used across the Sahel and Sudan regions found in the northern half of Africa. While the Sahel part is more easy to explain, the Sudano and Sudano Sahelian may throw some people off. While this misconception is understandable, Sudano in this context does not necessarily correlate with the modern countries of Sudan and South Sudan, and in this case, refers more closely to the savanna south of the Sahel. Sudano Sahelian is a broad term, used to distinguish a general style of architecture, and, in reality, has multiple subsets which evolves unique stylistic and climatic adaptations. These subsets include various Mande, Hausa, and Voltaic styles, among many others. Contrary to popular belief, the Sudano-Sahelian style was not introduced to West Africa with Islam, or as a result of Mansa Musa's pilgrimage to Mecca, and, as shown by excavation work done during the 70s, is at least as old as what Susan and Roderick Mcintosh call Phase 2 of the development of the ancient city of Jenne-Jeno. This phase lasted from 40 CE to 400 CE, which would put the date of Sudano-Sahelian architectural development at least over 200 years before Islam was even founded. Buildings made in Sudano-Sahelian style are crafted of a combination of soil mixed with water and other materials. While finer details may vary, the mud brick construction methods used by the inhabitants of Jenne are generally consistent in Sudano-Sahelian construction, and thus can be used as a model. During the dry season, Banco, the soil that is used for the production of mud bricks, is obtained from pits dug near rivers during the previous dry seasons. As a result of water retreating with the end of the rainy season, this soil is moist and perfect for construction. It is often mixed with materials such as rice husk, straw, animal dung, and water, which itself is often supplied by women. Some of this mixture will become bricks and some mortar. The developing bricks are shaped and then laid out neatly to be sun-dried. In Jenne, there are two main forms that the bricks are shaped into. Traditional cylindrical bricks, known as Jenne-Ferré in Jenne, each typically crafted by hand, and rectangular Tubade-Ferré bricks, often made with a wooden mold. During the 20th century, the latter Tubade-Ferré brick, whose name roughly translates to foreigner's brick, became used more commonly. This replacement of the traditional cylindrical bricks happened because, while they are apparently more resilient, once a wall built with them becomes unstable, it is not repairable, while Tubade-Ferré bricks are not liable to this issue. After being dried, the bricks are laid out to form the structure, and mud mortar is used to make sure that they stick together. After this process is complete, mud is plastered on to provide a smooth coat. In buildings such as the Great Mosque of Jenne, one of the tallest mud brick sites on Earth, pillars inside support the roof, and holes on it covered by terracotta allow for the flow of fresh air inside the building. As mentioned earlier, there are multiple different styles and variations of Sudano Sahelian architecture. In the regions nearby Lake Chad, home to the Kanem-Bornu Empire, kiln-fired bricks are more traditionally used, which had the advantage of higher survivability and longevity when compared to sun-dried bricks used in the West. They are less susceptible to wind and water erosion, and it's unclear as to why kiln-fired bricks are not more common in Western regions, seeing as to how terracottas from across West Africa clearly demonstrate that kiln firing was a known skill. But one suggested reason is that the resources to do so were limited, and artists took higher precedence over masons. A traditional art piece was meant to last as long as possible, whereas a house only lasts as long as its owner. Mande architecture, Mande being a term that refers to a family of ethnicities and languages whose speakers live in West Africa, including the Soninke, Bambara, and Mandinka, is most commonly associated with Mali, where numerous Mande groups live. The style can be distinguished for its use of two things: cone-like towers and wooden planks. Conical towers often serve the purpose of marking the direction towards Mecca and mosques, and also have a non-religious purpose as support for the walls. Wooden planks that jut out of structures serve both the purposes of giving a visual flair and of scaffolding, used during the replastering of mud, which, for important structures, such as the Great Mosque of Jenne, is a major annual event and festival, known as the Crépissage de la Grande Mosquée, or Fête de Crépissage. Hausa architecture is executed by some of the most highly organized architectural guilds in West Africa. A highly distinctive element of Hausa architecture is the Hausa vault, a collection of palm wood arches smoothed over with mud that stem from walls and form a domed roof that look really nice. A final notable distinguisher of Hausa style when compared to other Sudano Sahelian architecture is the fact that bricks are often more conical in shape when compared to the traditional cylindrical shapes and modern rectangular shapes of Jenne. It's my hope that this architectural style does not fade away with the ages, being the victim of more modern and European styles of architecture, as, in my opinion, Sudano Sahelian architecture has the ability to look beautiful, even in modern scenarios, as seen in this heritage house in Nairobi, Kenya, which looks amazing. For the next video in this series, I'll probably go farther south to discuss some of the architecture found in southern Africa. I hope you all enjoyed this one, and I'll see you all there.